Crazy.
And then knees back to your chest. And now all the way down.
Oh, oh my gosh, trying so hard.
You did it!
Hi, I'm Bailey. This is Bailey Talks, where I talk, you listen, and hopefully we both learn something along the way. No scripts, no filters, just unique conversations. Let's see where we end up. We're going.
We're going strong.
Do you know one of the first things I had written down was like, I wanted you to teach me how to do a headstand.
I actually
How
wore
the
shorts
fuck do you-
because I was like, I feel like this is the kind of thing. My brother told me that we have similar energy. He was like, you guys are going to get along like a house on
He
fire.
did mention that.
Because you guys are both just fucking energized
Yeah,
bunnies.
yeah,
And I was like,
ADHD.
okay.
Bit crazy. We
No
love that
offense, by
though.
the way.
That's okay. Thank you. You like the Alfies?
I don't know what they are.
It's a brand.
Okay.
It's
Apparently I do.
It's a. Are they Sydney or are they Gold Coast? Alfie's Mission. I should know that because I buy that stuff. I'm gonna say Sydney.
Plug 'em.
Cool stuff
Shameless
though.
plug.
It's They've got a store in Bali too. So when I was in Bali,
Fuck yeah,
I was
that's
like,
what I
I
like,
rolled
yeah.
in. I was like, okay.
I feel at home.
Spent like my whole Bali budget on the first night, like just getting all my stuff, all my kit. You gotta look good in Bali.
When did you go to Bali?
October last year.
Okay. Did you spend much time there?
No, it's my first time.
Where'd you go?
Like obviously like Seminyak, you know, in the hustle and bustle.
Okay.
And then we went down to Uluwatu for a few nights, which was lovely, in a beautiful villa down there. Oh my God, the places are gorgeous.
Insane.
Like we did Europe last year as well, and one of the Airbnbs we stayed on the Amalfi Coast was like amazing, but Bali was just as beautiful and a quarter of the price. OMG.
Yeah.
Why is everyone not there? Well, I guess it is getting busier, so.
It used to be so much cheaper.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like it's
Is it big-
astronomical now.
Is it becoming more expensive, do you think?
More expensive, and the land's just not available. And
Yeah.
it's just so busy. Like
People are building, like people are buying land, building
God, yeah.
villas.
Yeah, and it's hard not when you're in there, like when you're there, it's hard
Yeah.
not to want to get into it because you
Yeah,
hear all
yeah.
this, like you're in the sauna and there's like all these like big business dudes come in and they're like
just built
blah,
my
blah,
fourth
blah.
villa. It's like, fuck, I
Yeah.
want to build a villa.
Yeah,
If
this
you
is my
if you can-
return.
yeah. If you can build a villa, I want to build a villa. It's definitely becoming more, not Western, but like even the beach clubs and that, like the cocktails are getting more expensive. Like you speak to people and they're like, it used to be like cheap, you could buy bing tangs, but now it's getting more expensive. But we had a great time.
Yeah.
Aside from the Bali Belly, it was great.
You got
time.
Bali Belly?
Well, I didn't get really super sick, but I was not pooping correctly. Like it wasn't healthy.
Uh-huh.
This is a good way to start the podcast.
I mean, you're the yoga teacher, you're in good company.
yeah.
I'll just talk about
true.
poop all day long.
Do you do meditations? You know, last night I was
Yeah.
listening to one of your meditations.
One of mine?
Yeah.
You were
I
not.
swear on my life. I can probably
Really?
get it up right now. Yeah.
You fell
Look, I'm going to
asleep
be honest. I didn't. No.
listening
I didn't do the whole thing, but I definitely listened to like the first few minutes. But should you lead us into a small meditation to start?
I actually think that'd be lovely.
Can you do like a I don't know, whatever you like?
Do you normally do anything like that? Like
No,
once? Okay.
never.
Because
I just thought of this driving here. I was like,
that's the other thing my brother mentioned. He was like, I think you want to kind of expand out in
Yeah.
regards to the type of people that you get on the podcast.
Big time.
And I
Big
was like,
time.
I wonder whether I'm like full rogue.
no,
Just
no.
like, what the
no,
hell
you're
is this
perfect.
chick doing there?
No, you're
Okay.
perfect. Because
Stop it.
I think no, you are. You're perfect. I think like Sam might have told you, I just want to keep chatting with different people, different walks of life.
Yeah.
Learning. I love learning. I love asking people things. And hopefully it translates to our audience and people can learn things as well. So
Fuck yeah.
that's the goal, really, you know, and have fun with it. Gotta have fun in life. Life's too short, you know.
Perfect. All right, let's start.
I'm ready.
Lengthen up your spine. Find a comfortable seat.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. It's a big part of it. Growing as tall as you possibly can.
Is it?
I mean, it just helps lengthening the spine. It helps to open up through the airways so you can take a deeper breath in. And then if you feel comfortable and safe to do so, you can close down the eyes and maybe take one hand to your heart
Already
space
shut. Yep. Okay.
and one to your belly. One hand to your heart, one hand to your belly.
Okay.
Take a full breath in through the nose. Fill up the belly, the ribs, the chest. A subtle pause at the top. And then open the mouth and let it go. Feeling the shoulders relax. Another deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, let it out with a little sigh. letting go of anything that doesn't serve you, shaking it off. Another one, inhale. Open the mouth, let it go. Coming back to a neutral, steady breath without trying to control or manipulate anything. Just watching the rhythm. Maybe noticing the texture of the chair beneath you or the temperature of the air around you on your skin. Becoming present and aware of any sounds that might be happening either within you or in your immediate vicinity. Again, without trying to judge or name anything that arises, just notice what comes up when you're given the space to think, to breathe, to feel. And as you're here, maybe just set a little intention for the rest of your day. It could be something really simple, like just being present. Maybe sending some love or some kindness to someone in your life who you know might be needing it. And that person might be yourself. Take another full breath in. Clearing breath out. And then gently opening the eyes.
Wow. Welcome back to the podcast, episode 21. What a beginning. I feel cleansed. I feel amazing.
It's a good way to start a podcast.
Welcome, Sienna. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Stoked
Your
to be
voice is like soothing.
here. I don't get that often. Being Australian, I feel like we're just little bogans.
Bit bogan, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that a bit too.
But I definitely have a meditation voice and a yoga teaching voice. And it's different from my regular voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something you just is natural with that space, or do you think,
It just happens. It'd be weird if you were like, and shut your fucking eyes.
Get the fuck up, hurry up,
Yeah.
you're fucking around. That's so true. We Australians, we're freaking bogan, aren't we?
We are, but I also love it.
Well, you got to embrace it,
Yeah.
regardless if you get judged, whatever it is. I'm just embracing my boganness.
How
every
old are
day.
you, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
26?
Don't forget, this is my podcast, right? I ask the questions.
I'm allowed to turn some
firing
back
me.
on
You're
you.
firing me early. No, you definitely can. You definitely can. Sienna, it's lovely to meet you.
Likewise.
Thanks for being here today.
Likewise.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's
We were saying
Day.
before, it's a very special day for a lot of people in their calendar year. For me personally, I think Valentine's Day, it's just another day for me. Yeah, it's just another day, My girlfriend's birthday was last week, so there's a bit of overlap there. She's just getting one set of gifts. She's getting a beautiful set of gifts, and that's going to cover me till today at least.
You could do something thoughtful though.
I could.
It doesn't even have to be a gift.
Acts
just
of
like,
service.
Yeah.
What do you think? Any ideas?
I don't know. Leave it with me.
Okay.
I'd have to know more about it.
True.
You'd know way better.
True. I just need to think. Sometimes you just got to think.
Yeah, do a little spontaneous something.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
surprise something.
Yeah.
Show up at work, send a little love letter or something.
Yeah, a little
Leave
love
something
letter.
on a windscreen maybe.
That's cute.
Or do you guys live together?
We do.
Yeah, you could decorate the house with like little thoughtful notes or something, or balloons, just something.
What are your love languages?
Mine, physical touch.
Really?
Big time. Oh, 100%. And
Is that-
then quality time.
Quality time, physical touch.
Yeah. What are yours?
I think everyone's so different. My number one by far is acts of service. If you do something nice for me and help me out during the day, like save some time for me, welcome.
I think that's a big...
Welcome to my
I
heart.
think a lot of men are.
Yeah,
Mostly acts of service.
I think so. I think for me personally, it's massive. I just think, and thankfully, my beautiful partner Samara, she is amazing at doing things for me. Since moving in, she does so many little things for me, which sometimes I feel like I take for granted, but I'm very appreciative. So thank you, darling, if you're listening. I don't think she listens, but
Thanks, Samara.
Thanks, Samara. Happy Valentine's Day. Obviously, where have you been the last few weeks? You've been Traveling. I mean, you're a traveler. You're a traveler bug.
I am a traveler.
Where have you been?
I haven't been traveling the last few weeks.
Okay.
For the past few days.
Yep.
Okay, so long story long. I don't have the capacity to tell a long story.
And we don't want
a
that.
short story.
We don't want that.
I'm so bad at it. You'll have to bring me back like a bunch of times because my ADHD just goes,
it's good.
Fucking side
Let's
quest,
fire.
here we go.
Let's fire. We just go with it.
Okay, well, about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, left my long-term relationship.
Yep.
And just had this overwhelming urge to kind of blow up my life.
Yep.
And so it didn't stop with just that. It was, okay, let's also move out of the home that I own.
Yep.
And I'm renting it out to a bunch of girls, which is cool, like local girls.
Cool.
And they're amazing. Moved back into the family home a few days ago, which comes with its own challenges and complications.
Oh, yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, big time, man.
Already. Like, my other brother came over yesterday, like,
It's
spontaneously.
too much. There's so much
and
going on.
he was like, how you doing? And I just, like, cried in his arms. And I was like, I don't remember the last time I did that. Like, thank you so much for
beautiful,
being
though.
there.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think when you leave home, and then that's one challenge in itself, but then moving back into home is probably twice as hard. I think you appreciate your own space a bit more and things like that. And then, you know, parents, like, we love our parents, right? Mums and dads, you're amazing. But, like, man, my mum is just, like, still treats me like I'm 12. Like, still tries to boss me around. Still tries to, like, just cramp my style. I'm like, Mum, I'm like 26 now. She still tries to tell me what to do. Love you, Mum. But it's like, at some stage, you know, you just got to have your own space. It's so important. I can't love my parents, but, you know, I'm not moving back home. Touch wood.
When did you move out of home?
Early, 17.
Same.
So I went down to university down Victoria.
Okay.
Moved down by myself. Lived on college. Grew up so much in the first 2 years. Meeting people. Just literally putting on your first, like, load of washing. Little things that I'd never done, you know? And it's like texting mum, being like, Mum, how do I do this? Like making like 2-minute noodles, like trying to make pasta and like just all those things. And
you called your mum to make 2-minute noodles?
100%.
Oh my God.
Everything. How do you read this? You don't have to read this. Like, what's easier? Call mum, read the instructions. Call mum. It's way easier. I'm not going to even try and do this. Is that lame?
That actually makes sense. I'm just like, that's actually really sweet though. Like, your mum would have been like, what the hell? But at the same time, that's really adorable. And I love that. Like, thank you for calling me for that.
Oh, man. And so you're crazy few weeks for you. Breakups, man. Breakups. They're tough.
They are tough.
What's the key to getting through a breakup?
I think they're all so different. I've had a lot of, I want to say, like, rapid growth in regards to, let's say, downloads. I know that that's like weird, but really it's just getting out of my own way enough to realize that everything's divinely timed and I'm exactly where I need to be, and I always am. Yeah. And so with this relationship, this feels different because there was nothing wrong with the relationship. Absolutely nothing wrong. Like, the best partner I could have ever asked for, so emotionally intelligent, very intelligent, IQ as well, like EQ, IQ, holding space for one another. Communication was our superpower. We came into the friendship from friendship to then best friendship for 2 years over COVID and FaceTiming throughout those 2 years. And then when the world opened back up, we came together and it was like a big deal. It was like, okay, we don't want to ruin this friendship. So how can we intentionally go into this knowing that if that does happen, which, you know, is a possibility with every relationship, of course, how can we navigate that?
Do you think I feel like a lot of relationships start off with, I think being friends first is quite important. Yeah. Not for everyone, but I think it really builds a solid foundation for what you're getting yourself into the relationship. And I know with my current partner, like, we were friends for ages and like, I always had a secret crush, but I don't think she was super like this. I'm not going to date this guy. And I used to, like, I was trying for so long, like, come on, like, give me a chance. Like, she's like, really? No, we're just friends. Finally, I pushed her over the edge. But I agree with you. I think a lot of relationships start off, friendships are important, and best friends. But it's also cool, and I'm curious what it was like for you going from being best friends to then being together. That's a big step in itself too.
Yes, but it was so natural and organic. Like, we were both in love with each other. Yeah. And just in a platonic way. And
Yeah.
then when it became, oh, actually, we both know that we want to explore further.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, okay, how can we do that healthily and rationally, knowing that if this may potentially not work out, what are we going to do if that happens at the very beginning? And so it was almost like from the get-go, there was a sort of detachment in a way of unconditional love, let's say, as in, I love you so much that I don't want to possess you or own you or even have you bound to me in regards to we're in a relationship. Like, I'm not yours. I'm still mine. I'm sovereign. Yeah. And you're still you. You're sovereign. And we're choosing. And that's what the relationship is to me anyway, and to him as well, is a choice every single day that you're the person that I want to be with and to go through life with, and go to for these challenges and help me get through and help you get through as well.
How important do you think independence, being your own person, is in a relationship, and having your own friends and having your own time for yourself? Do you think that's important in a relationship?
I think it's important in every relationship. Like, a relationship isn't a container that withholds you from other things. It's supposed to be like a safe space, a little sanctuary between you, but you should still be fully able to do everything else. And I love alone time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm loud, I'm outgoing, but I'm such an introvert. Holy dooly. Like,
really?
Oh my God, through and through. I need so much alone time. I reckon I go socialize for like an hour, and then the rest of the day I'm just
out.
Yeah, but I love it. I love being alone, and I love like either meditating or just doing my daily rituals or going for a walk and listening to a podcast or just putting on some music and dancing around the house. And even if there's other people there, like there currently is, just pretending that they're not. Like, I find that so cathartic and therapeutic. Yeah. And I love being in my own presence.
Of course.
Like, I'm learning now that I'm actually pretty awesome. I'm like, wow, I'm actually pretty cool. I like hanging out with me.
What do you think is like, what's your process this time around for getting through a relationship, if you don't mind me asking?
Through a relationship, through a breakup.
Sorry, breakup.
Yeah.
Not relationship, breakup. Are you like on that quest of like self-insight, learning more about yourself, working on yourself, healing, things like that?
Yeah, but not so much in the cliche way.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, a lot of the time you hear that and they're like, oh, I've got to work on, it's not me, it's you, I've got to work on myself. I'm like, well, fucking duh. Like, we've all got to work on ourselves. Yeah. It feels to me like I've got so much growth to be had, and that the relationship literally just felt complete is the best way to put it. It's like there's still so much love there, and there always will be, but getting through it seemed like the only way to keep the relationship healthy, which is the priority for both of us. Yeah, I don't even remember what you asked me.
No, neither. But I love it. I love the answer. Now, as way of introduction, right? You're an author for a book. You're a yogi. You're a meditation expert. You're a travel bug.
I would not say expert.
Well, I'm saying expert. I'm giving you that title. You clearly would be a mentor. I feel like you would be an amazing mentor for a lot of your friends, but also your massive following online. How would you describe yourself in 3 words? I love that question, by the way, because it's a really cool question. It makes you think about you and what you love about yourself.
What are your 3 words?
For myself?
Yeah.
3 ways I would describe myself. I would say I'm honest, I'm confident, and I'm caring. I know that's probably a little bit boring, but I really care about people.
I don't think that's boring at all. That's beautiful.
Is that nice?
Yeah, nice to meet you, honest, caring, and confident.
Confident. That's me.
I'm joyful.
Joyful.
Playful.
Yes.
And yeah, caring and honest, present.
All in the one.
Yeah.
In the one word.
There's no word.
If there is a word for that, we can get a thesaurus up and find a word. But
okay, I'm joyful. What was the second one?
Joyful. You're playful.
Playful and a fairy.
A fairy.
Yeah.
Why a fairy?
I don't know.
Just am.
Yeah, I just am. I just
Mate, you
float around.
you've been like, you're probably like one of the OG influencers.
Yeah.
Like you're an OG.
Yeah.
Like I was scrolling through your stuff, right? And I was like, like you've been doing this for ages, like content creation, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you've seen over the last how many years the social media world change, which it has. When you first started creating content and putting yourself out there online, what was that process like for you? Take me back to the start.
That was wild. I didn't know what I was doing. None of us did. It was like social media or Instagram. I guess Instagram isn't where it started. It started on Tumblr.
Yep, Tumblr.
Yeah.
Wow, that is OG.
Yeah. So I used to, it didn't start as an advice blog, but it turned into an advice blog and people would just anonymously ask questions. And there was always more in there. I don't know how they came from. I don't even know whether I had followers.
Yep.
I was just obsessed with this little box, and I'd get back from wherever I was during the day, look at this little box, and I was like, that's cool. I'm going to talk to some randoms on the internet.
I'm going to answer that question.
Yeah, anonymous people. And it turned into an advice blog, I guess, because I'm the same in the caring capacity, that I really genuinely just want to help other people, and helping other people has always felt like it helped myself because it's the guidance that I would have been either needing, like my younger self, or the guidance that I was needing at the time.
Yeah.
So when you think about the questions that you ask or the questions that you respond to, they're always questions that resonate for whatever reason in that time. And so that's kind of how that started. And then Instagram came about. At first it was on a private page, and then someone, I think on Tumblr, was like, yo, you should take it off private and put it on public. And I was like, okay, interesting. And I don't remember how long after, but I was... see, we've got to go even further back.
I know.
Remind me what we're up to, okay?
Okay,
I had bad depression, anxiety, like 15 onwards. Had a couple of suicide attempts, ended up leaving school early, went to university young, and then moved to the Gold Coast to Griffith University to study photojournalism. So I started kind of implementing my photography work, my love for sunrises and early mornings, and yoga, which, by the way, I had no idea what I was doing at the time. I started getting a reputation for being a yogi and a yoga teacher and being asked to teach retreats and stuff around the world. And I was like, this is the terrible idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't even know
what's going on.
I look back now and I'm like, that pose is all wrong. What were these people thinking? Like, that's so anatomically incorrect.
This is a perfect pose.
No, I was terrified. I had such imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
Because to me, it wasn't doing the pose well. It was just the act of creating. And so this is before, I mean, you could do it on your phone at the time probably, but I would take my DSLR and a tripod, and in Queensland, the sunrise is so early. So I used to go down to the beach at like 4 a.m., like wake up at, 3:34, drive 45 minutes to this private beach because I didn't want anyone seeing me. And I'd like walk the whole way down the beach, set up my tripod, and then a 10-second timer. And so I'd click it and go try and run across and like do a handstand in time. And
the lengths you go to create content, it's cool to hear about like what you were doing back
in the
then.
OG days. Yeah. And then it was just like my phone on anything. Yeah. So my phone's just always trashed because it like falls off trees and stuff that I try to lean it on, or like get it in the sand, and so the speaker's just always full of sand. I'm like, I'm just a wild woman at this point.
That's so funny.
It is what it is. So I was what you ask me again?
See, we're the same person. What the hell are we talking about? Nah, it was more to do with the first
social
portion.
Media.
Yeah. Was to do with your content and that.
So I started just sharing those photos.
Yeah, right.
With poetry because I was getting through depression. And that's what helped me, is just sitting in my car on my notes when I get home from somewhere and just type for like an hour just as a way to vent and to kind of get it out. And then I started just sharing them as captions, just not giving a fuck what anyone would think ultimately, because I was like, I like doing this. It is what it is. And at first it was private. I took it off private and they just started hitting. And the Explore page back then used to be called the Popular page, and it was the same for everyone. Yeah. So now it's focused on you and your personal algorithm. Yeah. It used to just be if your photo hit the Popular page, everyone's could see that. And so I used to be able to gain like 10,000 followers a night.
Really?
It was like this weird addictive game. So unhealthy though. Yeah, like as a 17, 18-year-old, didn't know what to do with that. Yeah. So I used to go to the shower. Like I used to have a shower and take my phone with me because if I got like a comment or anything, I felt like I needed to respond and I needed to be there. And there was no social media hygiene, let's call it, that I knew of. I didn't realize that it was unhealthy to be exposed to other people's opinions so constantly. And then actually something happened with Harry Styles back in the day. They came to Australia. This is literally like 10, 12 years ago, long ago. We were all little babies. They came to Australia and he hit me up and I didn't even know who he was. I knew he was from One Direction, but I didn't know which one. And he was like, hey, we're coming to Australia on tour. Like, do you want to hang out? And I was like, sure. I ended up taking to a waterfall at like 2 a.m., 4 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, got lost. It was a whole side quest in itself.
Goodness.
He's an absolute legend, like biggest hearted dude ever. And from that, I started getting not a lot of followers because I already had a bunch of followers, but I got a lot of hate.
Really?
Like from 13-year-old girls, like death threats. And I was like, what is happening?
What the heck?
Didn't know how to respond. My nervous system was just in overdrive. And then I think that kind of fueled the kind of obsession as well to always have my phone, be looking at my phone, being so concerned about other people's.
What was your screen time back then, do you think? Are we talking
I don't know. Screen time wasn't a thing back then. It probably wasn't actually that high.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm like, oh, that needs to change.
Conscious of,
because it's not even that it's addictive. I notice how shitty it is for me. Yeah, and then how
habit.
good I feel getting outside.
Oh yeah.
But even when I'm outside, I still got my phone in my hand because I'm like, podcast. What can I learn?
It's crazy the way we're moving, the direction we're moving with social media. And we were talking last night around our dinner table at my girlfriend's parents' house about now the things that you can learn online, whereas previously having to get degrees or certificates or studying for things. Now, like if you want to become a barber, you can go on YouTube. You can watch a few tutorials, get a set of clippers. Let's go.
Probably also need some actual talent.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you
there
or
has
I
to be
might
a little bit of talent. But what you can learn now online is crazy.
Yeah.
Anything. Meditations. I mean, probably a bit of talent there as well, right? Especially with like yoga and Pilates. Like that stuff's tough.
It is tough.
Really tough.
I'm so grateful. And
you can strike some crazy poses.
Thanks.
Impressive.
I've always done it. So where you are, I literally did gymnastics where we are currently in the studio.
Oh my goodness.
50 meters away. And that was my life growing up. Like my parents got us all into, so I've got two older brothers.
Yep.
We were all into sports very, very much so from an early age and competitively and very good at it. So we'd be at, at least Australian titles to worlds type of thing, depending on what we were doing. So swim training every morning before school, we'd always rock up with wet hair and smelt like chlorine. Everyone would tell us that we smelt like rotten eggs. And I was like, it is what it is. Get over it. I want to quit. I'm not allowed to. And
I want to quit. Mum won't let me. Sorry, I can't quit.
No, seriously, I wasn't allowed to quit. I wasn't allowed to quit until I was.
Don't be a quitter.
Well, yeah. Now I'm grateful, but at the time I was like, I hate this stuff. Like I don't want to smell like rotten egg every day at school.
It's another one of those things growing up where your parents were quite tough. I was much the same. Like I remember I was scarred at a young age with my swimming training. Like I hated swimming.
You did it too?
Yeah, I did not like swimming at all. Like it was one of those sports that I just didn't enjoy. And I was never a strong swimmer. I just didn't feel like that was the sport for me. And I remember when I was back in like grade 4 and 5 swimming practice, I'd be swimming with the grade 7 people and I'd have to do 50 meters and I would just be the whole week, swimming was Friday, and I would just be the whole week just so stressed going, I don't know if I'm going to make this 50 meter pool. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end. And then I'd be thinking about if I'm in the middle lane or the side lane, and I'd be like, I've got to be in the side lane. I need to be able to get to the side. And the anxiety was through the roof, but Mum was just like, mate, you're going to keep swimming. Like, and like you said, grateful now because you've got to be a strong swimmer.
Yeah, you got to be.
If that's a red flag, I think.
How old were you?
I was young.
Okay.
I was like, that was like 8 to 12 for my swimming years.
Yep.
And I think now if you can't swim, that's a red flag.
It's so hard now.
Yeah.
My parents have like a 20-meter pool in their backyard, which is, you know, close enough to a lap pool.
Couple of laps.
Yeah, yeah. And so mathematically, I'm like, I can't figure out how many laps I've done to equivalent, you know, a few Ks.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I tried to do a K the other day.
Yeah.
So hard.
Tough.
What on earth? My muscles were sore for like 2 weeks afterwards.
Did you feel good after though?
In a good, painful way.
Yeah. It is a nice high. I think I've been doing a few laps recently at the Charlestown Pool, and whilst I don't really enjoy it, I'm just trying to challenge myself, and I'm really, that feeling you get after getting out of the pool is like,
get your budgie smugglers on.
Yeah, get the budgies on. I've got a great collection of budgies, by the way.
Yeah?
Got the Chili's, I've got me West Tigers budgies. I've got like 4 or 5 sets. But I'm not allowed to wear them at the beach.
We need some more. You need one for each day of the week.
Oh, I need heaps. Shout out the budgies. Hook me up. I love budgies. But I just don't have the ass for budgies. Like, you know how like some blokes have good asses? Like
No,
I
I
look
think
like
it's the budgies.
Like my back just goes to my leg. Like where did my ass go?
It's the budgies for sure.
It just disappeared.
It's 100% the budgie. I don't know what it like. They need to go up your butt.
They
I think
have
that's
to.
why girls' bikinis go up our butts so much. The smaller the swimmers, the bigger it makes your butt
Can
look.
we get some budgies that is going making
Can we just
my
get
ass
some
look
budgie
better?
thongs?
Yeah, can we do that? Is that where we're going with guys and budgies? I just look terrible.
Why not though? You guys all complain about the tan.
I know.
You pull them up your ass when you're on your belly.
That's a good
getting
point.
some sun.
That's a good point. I love going to the beach and tanning.
Yeah, just let it out.
I'm not a boardies guy.
You don't have to be.
Nah, I'm not a boardies guy. I'm a budgies guy, but my ass looks bad, so that's okay. We're going to work out why my ass looks bad. We're going to figure that out.
And it's not because of not going to the gym.
No, it can't
Once.
be. It can't be. I squat. I do RDLs.
Well, so do I, and I've
You
still
know?
got a pancake butt too. I put so much effort into this. I'm like, protein, grow my booty, and nothing
Come on.
works. I'm like, it is what it is.
Oh man.
At least it's
How
not
did we
converted
get
anymore.
how did we get here? How did we get onto budgies in my ass? I don't know.
Social media, I think.
So you've had quite the social media. What have you learnt now? Looking back now, like if you were to give some advice, maybe to let's say some younger ladies, some younger fellas going through working and navigating through social media, and
Okay.
what do you think do they need to be aware of now? Because it's a pretty scary place.
Oh my God. I feel like I need advice from them more
Yeah.
than they need it from me.
Yeah.
Because honestly, though, it's just the landscape's changed so much that it's so hard to keep up with. It's so hard to predict. And I've gone through so many fluctuations of creative investment. So
Yeah.
like loving it and feeling like it's really good for me to then feeling like I'm spending too much time online and not wanting to use it at all.
Yep.
So my personal algorithm is probably like, what the actual hell are you doing?
Yep. Yep.
Because the routine and the kind
So
of
hard to stay that motivated though, you know,
The
like
consistency
you hit a
is just not
high
there.
and you're like staying on that is hard. But I'm a big believer in, I think there's highs and lows. I think you've got to ride the wave and you'll know better than anyone when things are going well, you're starting to make content you like, or say you're doing an instructional and you're enjoying it and you're like, this is a great idea. I'm going to do this series. And then you go through a low where you're like, mate, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm hating this. It's a thing.
I think the advice then, based off of that, is share authentically
Yep.
and make sure authenticity comes first always, especially in regards to if you're doing like brand collaborations and things like that, but that's a whole
Yeah.
other story.
True.
But share something that is authentic and genuine and that you're doing anyway. And so don't try to force yourself to do something that you wouldn't be doing unless it's something that you are genuinely doing and loving anyway. So that it is organic. You're able to be consistent and to stick with it
Yep.
rather than feeling like it's something else that you need to add to your to-do list and do that day. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Have you had some big brand collabs?
Over the years, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, had some cool ones.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
what's been your favorite?
I don't know about favorite. I've got so many favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
I love them all for different reasons. But I was maybe like 18
Yep.
and Jaguar gave me a car for 6 months. And so I was
Really?
riding around this you look closely at it, it was like shimmery red
Oh my goodness.
Jaguar car. And
At 18.
I don't even know how much it was worth. So much, probably. And the
That's
funny
so
thing
cool.
is, though, I only had it for 6 months. I think it didn't work out because I wasn't their brand clientele. Like, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because the people that were coming up to me to be like, "Is this your car? Like, can I have a look?" And I'd be like, "Go for it." It was like these old men.
Yeah.
This is an 18-year-old
People
chick
were like
getting out
super
the car.
interested in like cool like sports cars.
Yeah, they were like, "Is this
your
yours?"
car? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get this?
Good question. I don't know. I just went with the flow. It just ended up working out for me.
Are you still doing brand deal? Like, is that something you still?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been some recent ones you've been enjoying, or what's the last couple of years? Any brands you've enjoyed working with?
Full transparency, the last couple of years has been very different. It's been a very different landscape since COVID in regards to, I think there's a few things coming into play.
Yeah.
One, brands throughout COVID just either lost all budget or somehow got more budget,
Yep.
and depending on where they were though. And then I've always been really selective about who I work with because I don't want to work with someone that I either don't genuinely use or believe in their product. I'm also got very high standards in regards to health and wellness. And so I would say 95, 99 even % of the options in a category are kind of just instantaneously gone because I wouldn't be using them myself.
Yep.
And then the more I learn about toxicology and environmentalism and just how everything is unhealthy for us ultimately, I get a little bit of panic and I'm like, holy shit, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'll just choose to work with the brands that I do genuinely love.
Oh.
The only problem with that is they don't have budgets.
Mm.
So I think there's this grand illusion that a lot of influencers, or at least myself, are doing a lot better than we are, purely because that's a priority from mine from the get-go, is to always have that at the forefront and to just be genuine and do what I love. And I just trust that it'll work out eventually.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then what did you ask me again?
About collabs.
And what about them?
You're so much like me.
My favorite one?
So, yeah. Favorite collabs.
Favorite collabs. Yeah, I don't know.
The car.
They're
It's got to be the car.
There's been so many
That's
across the
crazy.
years though.
Yeah. Influencing's interesting, isn't it? I think you're right. I think post-COVID it has changed a lot.
So much. Yeah.
What about with your love for yoga?
Oh,
Tell
here
me
we
how
go.
tell me how that started.
That started young. That started with the movement that my parents enabled me
Yep.
through gymnastics, surf lifesaving, swimming, tennis, aerobics, cheerleading, everything.
Yep.
Soccer, tried it
You
all.
name it.
Yeah, broke my toe playing soccer one time. That was fun. Scored
Which
an
toe?
accidental goal.
Did you?
I don't know. I didn't know that you're supposed to kick it with the side of your foot, so I just like stubbed it. I was wearing a boot.
Toe poke.
Yeah,
So
fully.
fun.
But I got a goal. It
Got
went
it.
in. Totally worth it. Couldn't play the rest of the season, but that's all right.
Broken toe, goal. Perfect. Tick. Done. Yoga.
Yeah, yoga.
What
So,
has yoga
movement, yeah.
taught you? What has it taught you?
Oh my God. That's been a journey in itself.
Yeah.
Getting into it young though meant that I was always doing handstands.
Which I do want to do before this podcast ends. I want to do a headstand with you.
We'll do it for sure.
I want you to teach me how to do it.
Okay.
The only thing is, if you hit the ground, it's going to be very graceful. If I hit the ground, it's going to be like deuce.
Well, you're not going to hit the ground.
True. Optimistic.
And if you do hit the ground, you learn.
Yeah, or you'll be there to catch me if I fall.
Will I though?
Also, you'll be doing your own headstand.
Or am I just putting myself in the way
You'll
to
probably
get
be doing a
eyes?
headstand, just looking at me, going, "Please fall, please fall, please fall."
You think we're going to make an eye contact in our headstands?
Well, if we're facing the right way. Imagine doing headstands and we're just looking at each other. Like,
We'd look like weird fish.
it would be bad. Real red head. Like I'll be like shaking a little bit, like eyes.
We'll
like
give it a whirl. We'll give it a whirl.
The first ever facing headstand.
Yeah. I don't know
That
about
could
the
be-
first ever.
No, but on the podcast,
Our
the first
first
ever.
ever.
Yeah. That'll be our YouTube thumbnail. The facing headstand.
I love it.
Perfect.
Lesson.
Sorry, yoga. Where are we? Yoga.
Lessons.
Tell me about yoga. You and yoga.
You asked me about lessons.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Biggest lesson. And it's changed over the years. But the recent one, because my practice has changed so much over the years and the way that I teach has changed so much over the years, the most recent lesson is my breath
Mm.
and using my breath as a way to be able to get through anything. And that's what yoga has been teaching me.
Yeah. Does that sort of align a little bit with breath work in general? Like there's a bit of
yeah.
crossover there, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, breathing is literally the most important part of life. People, like, you think of the hierarchy of needs. People are like, oh, we need water, we need like belonging and cuddles, because we've all heard about those scientific experiments with the monkeys who don't get any love and then they die, which is so sad. But
Bit in your face. Like.
yeah. Like, is there a nicer way to kind of teach us that? No, just right in killing monkeys.
Monkeys, poor monkeys.
Yeah, so I think I've done it again. What
Breath
is
work,
this?
yoga. It's okay.
Thank
It's the
you.
water I got you. There's something wrong
I
with
didn't
it.
even
I
bring it
haven't
over.
even drunk it yet. Oh. So I was gonna blame
My
the
brain's like,
coconut
what is
water. I was gonna
happening?
blame the
Oh, we
the
should
coffee I
have got
got
some
you.
coconut water.
Yeah, I've been drinking that lately.
It's
from
good,
Aldi.
isn't
It's
it?
on sale. It's awesome.
Shout out Aldi.
Oh my god. Budgies, Aldi, someone. Come on, get me something.
Do you know any brand deals?
A couple of weird ones, like not that many though. I've had like a red wine company. Shout out to Elephant in the Room. They gave me some wines.
Hells yeah.
And helped me help support the podcaster for a couple of episodes. That was amazing. And I've been drinking their Pinot Noir literally since I first started drinking red wine. So that was one of those ones which was cool because I knew them way before they knew me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like a me reach out like, come on, give me some wine, man. It was like, I love your Pinot. It's like cheap, but it's like a really good Pinot. Anyone who's starting to drink red wine, it's a great starting point for you. So that was a cool one.
Does it make you feel really bougie having a red wine?
100%.
Yeah?
100%.
You got your shit together.
Well, yes and no. You know, like you can either be faking it and like just have no shit together at all, or you can be you can have your shit together and drinking red wine. It symbolizes having your shit together a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
Red
even
wine.
if it's just while that glass lasts.
Even if you don't drink it, even if you're just holding it, you know, and just
That's me. That's me.
Do you drink wine?
I don't really drink at all.
Don't you?
No, I just don't. I never have. I don't like the taste of alcohol.
Your brother would be very disappointed in you.
Well, I mean, it's wasted on me.
Yeah.
Him owning 2 bars,
I
my dad owning a
know.
distillery.
I know.
Yeah, but Mum and I both we're not big drinkers, and we never have been.
So you've never had like a late night
I've never
session
had a hangover.
Uptowns? You've never been to Uptowns at like midnight?
Nah.
Jerome's DJing, been up there fist pumping.
Nah,
Do you go out sober?
nah.
Mate, where was your house? Is your house in Byron Bay?
No, I don't have a house.
No, your old house.
Oh, the one I own
Yeah,
that I've been
yeah,
renting
yeah,
out?
yeah, yeah.
I don't tell people where it is.
Okay.
It's just on the mid-north coast.
Sure.
I'll just say that.
Fair play, fair play. But I've seen you spend a lot of time in Byron, right?
I do, yeah.
You love Byron?
I love Byron.
It's got a pretty good nightlife.
I don't know. I'm a day girl.
Do you know?
I'm just all about sunshine.
Do you know David McCready,
Nah.
the guitarist, musician? I had him on last week, and he busks a lot in Byron. I was going to
Okay,
ask if you ever walked past him busking, but
Maybe I have.
you probably have. He's cool. He's got a brother. Anyway, not important. Back to yoga, okay? Because we're the same person. We're going on tangents, all right? Back to yoga. Because I'm going to start. I'm terrible at it. I'm just like.
Let's just let it rip. Let's just see what happens. Just fuck it.
But yeah, I do want to ask you about yoga because I want to know what it's taught you, and which you've sort of answered. I want to know what do you love about yoga for the human body, and what it's done for you.
Oh my God. I don't even know where to start. I just feel passion when you ask me that because there's so much and it's been such a big part of my life. It literally has saved my life.
Yep.
Like being in the depths of depression and knowing that I really have always loved moving my body through gymnastics and yoga. Well, through gymnastics and then finding yoga because I moved to Queensland and stopped doing all the sports that I was doing when I lived here.
Yeah.
And just instantly missed that. I was like, I don't want to kill myself and I know that I'm going to get out of this. How am I going to get out of it? And it was just like, do what you love and what you know feels good, which is movement. So I would take myself on runs. I would imitate these random yoga poses that I saw on Instagram at the time, like 2011, 2012, like early days.
Yeah.
And I was just curious if I could recreate them. Some I could do, some I couldn't do. And so the ones that I couldn't do, I would just keep trying to do until I could. And from that, I just started doing individual poses and taking photos of them and hadn't even done a yoga session. And so I just loved that. I literally just loved moving my body, and I didn't even have a comprehension at the time of what yoga actually was. And it wasn't until I did my first yoga teacher training, because I kept getting asked to teach retreats, I was like, I should probably do a teacher training.
I need to know how to do this properly.
Actually know something about it. Then I was like, oh my God, yoga. Like there's more than just here's a pose, here's a pose, here's a pose. First and foremost, you can thread them together and create a beautiful weave and dance and allow energy to just move through you and allow your breath to guide you, which is the most powerful part, I think, is the marriage, the partnership of the breath with the movement, and the way that allows you to be fully present with yourself and with your practice. Like when you're fully focused on a particular pose and doing everything right anatomically, you have no space in your mind to be thinking about what you're going to be having for breakfast.
And that's the thing, isn't it? And that's the beauty of breath work and this type of these types of activities, is forgetting about the issues, you know, in your life. But also you can
get through hard things. You can do hard things, and you can find ease and grace in uncomfortable positions. That's kind of what yoga is. Yep. And then you just translate that into life. Okay, I'm in an uncomfortable position, metaphorically. How am I going to get out of this? I can come back to my practice. I can use what I learned on my mat in my yoga practice and bring that into my life. Be like, okay, I know that I needed more patience or steadiness. I know how good it felt to just take 3 deep breaths this morning in my class. Like, I'll just do that again and see whether I can come back to chasing the dragon, is what they call it in like the drug world. But you can just chase the dragon with the good feelings too. I'm just going to chase the yoga dragon. It's kind of been my story. And then just watching it progress over time.
Is this something that you're most passionate about now? Like, is that what you'd say is like your biggest passion right now, is teaching yoga and seeing the way it influences and helps other people?
It's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's the biggest one, because I haven't been, like, I could say that, but my actions would suggest otherwise, if I'm honest with myself. Like, I haven't been teaching nearly as much as I would love to, and as much as I could.
Yeah. Well, I saw you've got a retreat coming up later in the year.
Yes.
Where was that, in Bali? Where?
No, it's Peru.
Sorry, it was Peru.
Yeah.
Hold on, Peru.
Peru.
How does one organize a retreat in Peru?
This is actually going to be the 3rd one.
Wow.
My partner and I, or my ex-partner and I, organized. See, it's fresh.
Yeah.
Organized this one together.
That's when you know it's fresh.
Yeah. When you go, oh,
you need to stop saying that, right?
We organized this one together, and I'm going to be taking it over.
Yeah.
And so this will be the first time that I've done it solo there, but not my first solo retreat. Like, I love doing solo retreats. And the space there is so special. It's called Samadhi. It's in Sacred Valley. We go to Machu Picchu. Like, it's so beautiful. Just the space, the energy of the land there is something else. And then the altitude. That's something else as well. You got to acclimate.
How do you organize and plan such an amazing retreat like that overseas? What's your process there with planning out the perfect yoga retreat?
There's so much to it.
Yeah.
First you just figure out where you want to do it.
Yep.
And then what you can bring to the space. So I always start with an intention. What is my intention for creating this container, for creating the retreat? What do I want to feel throughout it? What do I want the participants to feel throughout it?
Yeah.
And then I create a program around that.
Yeah, wow.
And so this one will be longer. Some of them that I do in Australia, let's say, are 4 days, 3 nights over a weekend normally. And then this one will be 7 days, 6 nights.
Wow.
And we go in depth. We go really deep. And that's the difference between, I would say, my yoga retreats and other yoga retreats, is that on some yoga retreats, there's a lot of downtime. You'll have like a morning session, maybe an afternoon session, and breakfast, lunch, dinner included. And then outside of that, it's kind of chill by the pool, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I like to like be really present with the guests and go really deep, just kind of show up. It's a lot of women.
Yeah.
It's rare that I will get.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's
do you
rare
ever get
that I'll have a man.
any men there?
We do.
Yeah.
And especially when my ex-partner was doing them with me. And that kind of brings a whole different energy to it as well. Just the grounding presence of like a safe, stable masculine with my chaotic, fluid feminine is really helpful. But at the same time, when it's all women, it always works out just right, because that safety and that emotional safety and honesty is just there. Where everyone who comes is there for a reason, whether they know it like consciously, or whether it was a subconscious knowing that pulled them, like their soul was like, hey, you got to go to this. And they're like, okay, I don't really know why I'm here, but I'm here. Let's make the most of it. And then you get other people who are like, I know exactly why I'm here. I'm working through this shit. I don't know how to get through this. I just need to learn some tools to be able to better navigate through this. Yeah. And so a lot of the time it's people at the end of the retreat, they're like, that was crazy beyond what I could have expected. How am I meant to go home now, back to reality? Like it's going to be such a juxtaposition. Yeah. How can I safely do that? And so the end of retreats are normally kind of talking about reintegrating back into your regular life without getting triggered again in the same ways. Yeah. And it's not about not getting triggered, because we will always be triggered. It's about realizing and recognizing ahead of time, being like, oh, I'm triggered right now. Oh, that's interesting. Like what does my mind do? Where does my mind go when I'm in that state? What happens in my energetic body? Do I shut down? Do I withdraw? Do I avoid? And so being back in my parents' place right now, instantly I'm oh my God, this is my biggest lesson. Like biggest lesson.
That's, you know what? It's so interesting and so insightful to hear that from you. Not only the preparation that goes into it, but what people are learning practically for their day-to-day life from a retreat like an overseas, because it's almost like you're preparing them to deal with the challenges with life.
Yeah.
And how to navigate through that.
I mean, I'm not preparing them. They're already doing it.
True.
They'd been called there for a reason.
But it's almost having that, it's helping provide them an extra tool in their tool belt to think about. It's almost like that thought, that self-insight, knowing that, okay, well, if I don't know what to do, if I'm in a difficult situation or if I'm feeling a certain way, hey, I've got this to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really special. Yeah. What do you love about working with women?
Women are just so honest.
Yeah.
And messy and raw and chaotic and emotional and beautiful and deep and safe. Like there's just something about when a woman cracks open, which sometimes it takes a lot, sometimes it doesn't take much at all, just the right, like knowing where to poke a particular question. And I'm not meaning physically poke.
Sure. Yeah, just on the shoulder, right? Just bang. Yeah,
because we're all going through the same things, and maybe we're not going through the exact same things, but we can resonate, or we know someone else in our life who's going through something similar. And so that's a common thread between all retreats. I just went on my first retreat actually, like as a guest, and loved it and loved receiving rather than feeling like I needed to be on.
That would have been interesting. What was that like for you, being more
it was
a part of it as opposed to leading it?
So good.
What was the energy like, good. Difference? Like for you, did you feel like it was more, you were really focused on yourself and what you could get out of it as opposed to worrying about the others?
Yes and no. It wasn't that I was focused on myself. It was that I just felt less responsibility.
True.
But just as much a part of the group, and being able to show up and like have late night conversations with the girls, which is something that I normally do on the retreats anyway. I'm like you, like I feel like I should start a podcast doing that, like on retreats.
Amazing.
Just talking to the girls on retreats. I should.
You should.
Yeah, why not? Maybe this
ideas.
Year. I'm full of ideas. Holy
you need to write your ideas down because you'd be like me.
I have. They're all written down on colourful sticky notes. I place them all around the house. The execution is the thing that I'm excited to get to work on now.
Yeah.
And actually bringing those dreams into reality.
That would be, I think, a great... you'd play a great role in that space. I think you'd help a lot of people.
Thank you. Stop it.
Stop it.
Don't stop it.
Stop it. TikTok.
Keep encouraging me.
Tell me about what role does vulnerability play in yoga, and what have you experienced being able to observe these beautiful women at your retreats, and what have you been able to see in terms of vulnerability, and what role do you think does that play with yoga and all things you've learned in life even?
What a beautiful question. Vulnerability, I see as a yoga teacher that it manifests as stiffness in the body when you try to resist it. And it's almost as if it's there and it wants to be heard and seen. It's like this little voice inside of everyone screaming, just let me out, let me express, let me share what it is that I need to share, let me be vulnerable. And we try so hard to hide that or suppress it or numb it with different things. You know, sex, alcohol, food, gambling, doesn't matter what it is. We've all got our vices.
Yeah.
And when we allow that vulnerability to come out and we simultaneously allow our bodies to open. So watching that unfold in a yoga class is really beautiful, because by the time that you're getting to the ground poses at the end, let's say pigeon pose, we hold a lot of tension and stress and emotions in our hips. So sometimes you'll come down into a yoga pose after you've vigorously moved your body, like you've elevated your heart rate, you've got the blood pumping, you're hot and sweaty, you feel good, you're starting to get tired, you're like, okay, child's pose is starting to feel, I might just stay here for a while.
Yeah.
And then they invite pigeon pose, I'll just start crying. And I'm like, I don't even know why I'm crying. Like, I'm not normally that emotional.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know what's happening right now, but the floodworks have just opened. Yeah. And it feels so good. And so I really do think that vulnerability is just this little voice inside of us, maybe even like an inner child who's just like, let me out, like, let me just express. So I think with yoga, it's going to be there. And it's just being able to tap in and knowing how you tap into that best, or being open to be surprised by it.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was there, but what are you trying to teach me? What is this vulnerability?
And welcoming that.
Yeah.
And being okay with that.
Yeah. Welcoming everything.
That's beautiful. Now,
do you practice yoga?
My mum loves hot yoga. I go with her when I visit back home.
Where's home?
Sunshine Coast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, I bet.
And mum loves her yoga. God love her.
What brought you here?
Just a change in scenery.
Okay.
And partial breakup as well.
Partial breakup?
Well, full breakup, but partial the reason why I moved.
Okay. And how long ago? How long have you been in Newry?
This has been my fourth year in Newcastle now.
Fuck yeah. You're local
Crazy.
now. Well done.
I still get Google Maps up a lot.
You moved during COVID?
Yeah.
From Queensland?
Yeah.
That was a bold choice.
It was very bold.
What? Oh, yeah.
In the thick of it. You know what's crazy? Before I moved, like as I was moving with work, because I'm an optometrist, right? That's my week job.
Plot twist.
So I test eyes.
You'd be a cool optometrist.
Yeah, obviously.
You can be my optometrist.
Yeah. Well, I'm very cool. So with work, like COVID, obviously with optometry, you're quite close with people, and the whole landscape with optometry changed so quickly. So I went from graduating uni to then all these new restrictions coming in. And you know, this is crazy, right? This is the one thing that stuck with me this whole time that I still think about, like, that's changed the most. When I first started practicing optometry, I would make such a conscious effort. Every person I met or had seen, I would shake their hand. Like, that was just me. Like, I was always like, lovely to meet you. You know, kid, granddad, grandma, male, female, I'm always shaking hands. Since COVID, obviously I still try to do it. A lot of people don't want to shake your hand.
The response, yeah.
Such a weird thing that, like, I'm conscious of now, but, like, I feel like it's so important with building rapport with someone, shaking their hand, and to now it's almost like that is something that I don't really do anymore. I'm not preaching as much.
Get back into it. Bring it back.
Germs, come on, guys, shake my hand. It's okay. You're not going to get sick.
Let's all share cooties.
Come on, let's have this. Here you go.
It's all right. I'm a hugger. It's even worse.
Yeah, true. Well, you can't hug people at work. I mean, you can sometimes.
I do.
I don't know if although some of the beautiful older ladies that I see, they love a hug. So especially if I'm sending them a referral for a cataract operation or something.
Oh God, yeah, they're gonna need a hug.
You can't see love, but I'll help you out. Don't worry.
Oh.
But that's a weird thing that I've thought about before. Shaking hands. Come on, guys, shake hands. Before we skip past the social media stuff, I just wanted to ask you something I had written down because I wrote this last night, and this I felt like it's a good question because a lot of people probably wonder this. Obviously, having a social media presence, influencing, whatever, there are some negatives associated with that.
Oh God,
and
yeah.
the pressures of online. What do you feel like a certain amount of pressure, or and what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced from social media alone and being having a profile online, like a big profile like you do? What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced with that, and what have you learnt from that?
Ooh.
Sorry, we're going back and forth a little bit.
Where to start?
I just forgot to ask.
There's a few things come up. Firstly, privacy and knowing what to share and what to keep to myself, especially in regards to like YouTube vlogging, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to kind of be open to share your life, but when you're doing things where other people are in it, you need like consent ahead of time. It's awkward if you just pull out a camera and start filming your friends. They're like, what are you doing?
Yep.
And other friends are like, fuck yeah.
Keep doing it.
And so navigating that is a little bit challenging, especially because over the years, I've just ended up kind of doing everything myself, as in doing things myself
Solo.
because I'm going to be recording and not wanting to kind of have to ask or get in the way.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I'm so grateful for that because it's been able to keep my friendships and my social life separate from the online space to a certain extent, which feels really healthy. So I'm grateful for that. But also just safety in regards to privacy. As a woman especially, there's been times when I've been traveling and or at home, like not sometimes, but I've had like notes left under my windscreen from people that I didn't know, which I thought was creepy. Because I'm like, you know where I live because my car's parked out the front of my house type of thing.
Wow.
Versus, which I don't think was intended creepy. Like it was a cute, nice note. Yeah. But because I don't know who it is writing it, I'm like,
that's a bit like,
That's just the female. Like,
sure.
We just, if we find out that it's a cute guy, we're like, fuck yeah, that's
awesome.
Adorable.
Yeah.
But until we know, we're like, this is so
this
creepy.
Is weird, yeah.
And then other times I was in New York with a girlfriend from here actually, like from Newcastle, and she'd just been through a bad breakup. And I was like, I'm going to America, you want to come with me? Like, you can just stay with me. And she was like, fuck yeah. And we're total opposites.
Really?
Total opposites.
How so?
She's been one of my best friends. Shout out Jera.
Yep.
She's been one of my best friends for so long now. Through high school, I want to say.
Wow.
Probably like year 7 onwards.
That's a long friendship.
Yeah. Her name's on the Christmas tree though.
Okay, she's
like,
there.
She's part of the family.
She's solidified her position. Okay.
For sure. And so she would be going out clubbing and whatnot, and she'd come home with a bag of like Jack in the Box, let's say, when we were in LA, and get in bed, and she has like one bite of the burger, one bite of nuggets, and like a sip of drink, and then falls asleep. And then she, and so she's coming in the door at like 5 a.m. as I'm like going out to go practice yoga.
Oh my goodness.
And she's like, I have stories to tell you. Like, I met all the famous people, and I was like, this is just gold. It's just gold. Our relationship's perfect.
That is
it's
cool.
So weird.
That is so cool.
It is. And then we were in New York, and there was someone who like sent flowers to to be delivered to our room by the concierge, because obviously if they rocked up with flowers themselves, that I would be really freaking out.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful that I had a girlfriend with me then, because I would have literally been sitting in my hotel room with like the blinds closed and being like, oh my God, someone knows what hotel I'm in.
Yeah.
That's freaky. Even with collaborations and whatnot, I don't normally share where I am when I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll share like a few days after or a week after.
Yeah.
Just for safety reasons,
For sure,
which
for
sucks.
sure.
It sucks that that's what the female nervous system needs to do.
But is that just instinct though? Like is that just something that's just the female way, right?
I think so. Yeah. Which is sad
It is.
that we don't feel safe enough to just be like, oh, here I am.
Oh, well, unfortunately now we live in a world where there's a lot of people out there who are unsafe.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of cool people.
There are.
A lot of great people.
There are a lot of amazing people.
And a lot of people who will step in if something's not right.
That is true.
Yeah.
And Australia's one of those countries where I think we have a lot of that as well. A lot of heroes.
I agree. I'm not normally out and about at night when those type of things happen.
No.
So that's probably why
You're
I've kept myself
sleeping and
safe.
you're getting ready for your yoga.
Yeah, sleeping,
in the morning
doing
early.
a sleep meditation, having a cup of tea.
I love that. Let's, before we do our headstand, which I want to do with you in a moment, I want to finish up by asking you about your plans for this year, any goals that you might have, and maybe where you see yourself in a couple of years.
Oh, dear. Okay. This year is a bit of chaos.
Sure.
But I'm here for it and I'm going with the flow.
Yep.
And I really do just believe that everything happens for a reason. And even if it doesn't make sense now, it will make sense eventually. So I'm kind of just like, all right, like I've released the reins. I'm like, all right, universe, you got this.
Yep.
What's next? I don't know. So I know that I'm probably going to go to Sri Lanka.
Wow.
I'm going to go to Mexico and do therapy-assisted ibogaine treatment and 5 MEO DMT.
Wow.
And yeah.
So wait, sorry, is that like the
plant medicine?
Sure. Yeah. Is that the stuff that like makes you like get a new whole outlook on life and stuff? Like is DMT like the Yeah. What that's crazy. Have you done it before?
Yeah.
What's that?
I haven't done ibogaine and I haven't done 5 MEO DMT. I've done regular DMT.
Yeah.
And
can you tell me quickly about your experience doing regular DMT?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And where was it? Where was that?
In the States.
Yeah.
And very intentionally.
Sure.
I don't use plant medicine often.
Sure.
And when I do, I always do it with setting an intention at the forefront.
Sure. What was your intention with the DMT that time, that experience?
Different each time. I've done it a few times.
Yep.
And mostly though, just to be open to receive what it is that I need to receive from the medicine. So trusting that the medicine knows better than me.
To give you.
Yeah, what it is that I'm needing to see. Sometimes it takes a long time after. So like my first time with ayahuasca, I've only sat with ayahuasca once because I'm still processing that.
Wow.
And I feel like I've needed, it's been, 3 or 4 years now to like, I'm still integrating from that experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I don't want to get, I don't know, I have some friends who get really into plant medicine, let's say ayahuasca, and they'll go like, not every weekend, but
frequent visitors,
a few times a year.
Yeah.
And I respect that and trust that it's right for them if that's what they've chosen to do. But that just doesn't feel right for me. Yeah. I have like a lot of reverence and respect for the plants.
Respect the plant, bro.
Yeah. And with ayahuasca especially, I don't feel like I did respect the plant as much as I could have.
You disrespected the plant.
I didn't disrespect it.
That's such a funny thing to say. You disrespected the plant.
Well, I think, that's normal in my world. I'm
I'm
sorry, plant.
Yeah.
I like to kiss my plants and I sing them little songs.
I'm sorry.
And I tell them how beautiful they are. And I'm like, you're growing so strong. I'm so proud of you.
You disrespected the plant.
Yeah. But with ayahuasca, I'll tell you the story. So with ayahuasca, I'd had the intention to sit with Aya for maybe like 2 or 3 years. But I really didn't want to go out of my way and make it happen. I didn't want to force it. I was like, when the timing's right, it'll come to me. And I was actually at Montana's baby's We have a mutual
No
friend.
way.
Shout out Montana. I love you so
Montana,
much.
Which is such a spin out that we're in that like friend triangle. I don't know how that's possible, but that's cool.
So I was at her daughter's first or second birthday. And there was this chick there wearing these like funky flare pants. It was like a birthday Bushdorf with a jumping castle for the kids and a DJ. It was literally the best party of my life and it's definitely inspired my future wedding. I'm like, I know I'm going to have a jumping castle at my wedding. That's all I want.
That's amazing.
Just like a jumping castle, maybe some trophies passing around for the
people.
Yeah.
That's the best ever. Perfect wedding.
And yeah, you can make it whatever you want. And there's this chick there wearing these like flare plants. And I just like went up to, and I was just like, this chick's epic. I'm just gonna go up and like grab a butt and like say hi.
Yeah.
And
as
so
you do.
and so I did, and I shook butts with the right girl because she's now literally my best friend.
Wow.
She's from Brazil. Her name's Rafaela, but we call her Huffy. And I was just like, great butt. Like, what's your story?
Brazilian girls, yeah.
Yeah.
What a
She
start!
turned
What
around,
a starting
she's like,
point.
hey, man. We like just hung out, got together, like just like
Hit
this
it off.
instantly. Yeah. And she was about to sit in ceremony, and her auntie is a shaman or a shaman maybe in Brazil.
Wow.
She has this property called Terra Luminis, and there's like jaguars and stuff like right outside the tent at night. And I was like, this sounds phenomenal. She was like, it's COVID. We can't get over there now, but I'm doing a ceremony here in a few weeks or like a few months maybe. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes, like that's the sign I've been looking for. Perfect. Wow. So I ended up going with her. I met another one of our best friends in ceremony who was like sitting opposite me. And now we are kind of all traveled together and it's so cool.
It started with a butt grab and now it's like best friends.
Yeah, exactly. A whole new girl group as well.
That's crazy.
So perfect. So I sat with her, and 2 weeks before two or maybe even a week before I sat, I had this dream, and I have these very profound, vivid dreams. Yep. Sometimes I'm like, that was weird. And other times I'm like, oh, I know exactly what that means.
Yep.
Like I can
feel that.
Analyze that.
I feel that.
And the dream that I had was that I was in the ayahuasca ceremony. And it was very similar. Certain things were different. Like in the dream, the shaman came around and gave us the cups of ayahuasca, where in reality it was one at a time around a campfire in a teepee. Like a round teepee would go up and take the medicine, and then you'd walk back to your spot. But in my dream, it ended up being exactly what happened in the actual ceremony, which is wild.
Wow.
So in the dream, the first cup, I didn't feel anything. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Everyone else is like screaming, throwing up, and this is what happened in reality.
Yep.
And I was like, I feel nothing. Like I'm okay, this is interesting. And then I got to the second cup and still nothing. And I was like, this is weird. Like, am I broken? What's going on? And so in my dream, I just started doing yoga and moving the medicine. I was like, okay, I'll move the medicine through me. Yeah. And so that's what I did in the actual tent as well. It was like freezing cold in the middle of winter. There was this fire. There was this tiny little hairless dog that had just decided to...
Is this the dream or the...
In reality.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then in the dream, the dog wasn't there. But
okay.
But we're all wearing white as you do in ceremony. And I just started... doing yoga, and in reality I started doing yoga as well, and I think that actually did help. And it wasn't until I started doing like a flowing breathing pattern. So I was sitting cross-legged. I was like, okay, I'll just stay upright for as long as I can and be really present. And then I started doing just like breathing, like inhale as you move your chest forward, and then exhale you curl it back. So just seated cat cows ultimately. Sure. Which is a yoga pose.
Yeah, cat cow. I like that. Downward dog. Yeah.
And so in my dream, the shaman came around on the third cup and was like, I've like double dosed this one because I can tell that it's not hitting. And then the message that I got from the dream was I didn't need to do ayahuasca because I was ayahuasca, and we all are. It's not like I'm progressed and other people aren't. It's that we all have that in us. Yeah. And I didn't listen because I was so curious. I was like, I need to know. And so I went and did it, and then I was mind blown that that's actually what happened. So I took the first cup, everyone else is already like crying, screaming, throwing up, and I was like, oh no, it's happening. Yeah. And then the second cup, the same thing. I started feeling like a little bit, I don't know, tipsy maybe. You're not tipsy, but like wobbly.
Yep. Yep.
Kind of gently distorted reality, maybe.
Yep.
And then by the third cup, I stood up and walked around the fire, and I was like, "Oh, don't fall in the fire!" Like I felt wobbly.
Yep. Yep. Do not fall in the fire.
But I felt completely normal other than that. And then it hit.
Yeah.
And then it hit.
It hit
hard.
Hit
that
hard.
was then the journey started.
Right.
I went through everything in that.
How long of a period?
It started. I'm a Scorpio. Okay,
Sure.
so Scorpio is all about sex, death, and rebirth.
Sure.
And I'm like very heavy on the Scorpio. I've got like 6-part Scorpio, which is a lot. And so it started for me with the breathing that turned into
I know what you're going to say.
Turned into a full orgasm.
I was just going to,
It was, and I was just in peak bliss and pleasure, and I felt so bad. I was trying to be like as quiet as I could because there's people literally screaming and throwing up like right next to me on either side all around the tent, and I'm just there like having the best time going, what is happening?
What the heck?
Yeah. And I was like, of course, like this happens every time, like mushrooms, it doesn't matter what it is, something, it always turns into this like pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's this voice telling me that I'm meant to be exploring that.
Yeah.
And like bringing pleasure and intimacy and relationships and communication.
Yeah.
And intimacy, like as into me I see, as a way of self-exploration and studying yourself. And studying not just yourself, but the self, like the experience of the self with a capital S, like the self, the overseer.
Yeah.
And so that happened, and then it went dark.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
How dark are we talking?
Pretty dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't share specifics on that.
Sure.
But
what a roller coaster.
Yeah, experienced losing children that I've never had.
Wow.
And I experienced telling my dad that it was okay to leave this earth. Like
full on things.
Yeah. And
very
like
real to you.
And childhood wounds of being told to like sit down, shut up, you're in the way sort of thing, and just like cocooning. So I felt like I was blossoming open in like this orgasm of just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then the shaman actually came around and was singing songs and like using tobacco to cleanse with like a big eagle feather and like blowing it on you. And she said something about like, remember the silence. And I think I was speaking poetry to myself, but really quietly. I had these blankets around my head, and I was just like writing in my head. So I was just whispering it to myself as if I was writing poetry. And she was like, remember the silence. And it was something so simple, so unaffected. Oh, because you're meant to be as silent as you can. Not like if you're crying and screaming or throwing up, you don't have to try to be quiet. It's more just like, don't let your experience impact other people's experience. Sure. Because we're in close proximity. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know I was that loud. And I just like felt myself go boom and spiral backwards in on myself. Yeah. And then it was just being a kid again, just all of those, you're a burden, that like negative inner critic when you're little, the voice that comes up then. Yeah. You're always in the way, you're so annoying, those little things that is still there. I won't speak from anyone else's perspective.
Sure.
But yeah, I didn't realize those were still there until that. And so and there's a lot more. I was like, as it was a dolphin, I was swimming through the water. It was so cool.
Oh my goodness. What an experience.
Yeah. So I'm still processing that.
You're still processing that.
Yeah.
Holy. What a story. That is great. That's very interesting.
It is
to hear your experience through that.
Yeah.
Because it's different for everyone, but what an experience.
Yeah. And then the next morning we did cactus and sat in the sweat lodge.
Yep.
And that was a whole other thing as well.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Can you give me a short?
Very subtle.
Yep.
I was by the door, and it's this tiny sauna. Like you got to crawl in. It's
very
like,
small.
Yeah, and then you got to sit with like your knees by your chest, or like you might be able to sit cross-legged, but there's not much room above you. And it gets so hot in there because it's an actual fire, and there's I don't even know, there was maybe like 20 of us in there. It's like you're sweat on sweat on sweat. There's people in front of you. There was no one behind me, and I was right near the door. And so I was getting this weird, like so much heat from the top because obviously hot air rises.
Yep.
But my butt, like my right butt cheek, was by this little crack in the door and was so cold because it was
Give me that
freezing
air.
outside. It was this weird contrast. And then when the cactus kicked in, it was very subtle, and I would just see faces of animals in people's faces out of my peripheral.
Yeah.
And then I would look at them and be like, is that an owl?
Yeah,
And I'd be like,
yeah.
no, that's a human. Is that a lion? No, that's a human.
Wow.
Real weird.
Yeah. You're in a hot little sauna with a cold butt cheek
But
looking
for
at faces.
so long. Oh
Really?
my God. So long. And I kept having to pee.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to go pee.
Oh my god.
I know. I was like, so I was a little bit distracted by the fact that my bladder was so full.
Sure.
I was like, be present, sing the songs everyone's sharing about their
You
experience
can't
from
be
last
present
night.
when you need to pee though. That's like the one time you can't be present.
I know. Almost as bad as when you need to poop,
Yeah, well, that's up there as well, isn't it?
right?
They're hand in hand.
You're
You know what I mean? They're like they're like both just as bad as each other.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up because we've been going for like an hour and a half. But I want to finish up with a headstand.
Did we go for an hour and a half?
Well, I'm pretty sure. Is
You're
Jacob
easy to
still here?
talk to. You're-
Has it been an hour and a half or an hour and... Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, should we do a headstand?
We should. Can I ask you a question first?
Of course you can.
What's something that is challenging currently for you that you're navigating, and how are you navigating it?
Whoa, that's a great question.
You said you're an honest man, so I'm expecting an honest answer.
You will get an honest answer.
Perfect.
I would say my current challenge would be handling and navigating my way through my levels of motivation with the podcast. So for example, I think when you're trying new things and putting yourself out there, sometimes you question whether what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're making, your ideas, if they're not necessarily valid, but if they're providing people with purpose and giving people something. And I feel like sometimes I question myself whether it's impacting people in a positive way. And what I'm finding very interesting right now is going through patterns. And it's like what we spoke about before, which is the highs and the lows. So when you're on a roll, feeling like you can't be stopped. But then when you're in a low, it's like, I don't even know if this is for me anymore. And I'm really starting to understand that and acknowledge that and know that that's just part of life. So that's what I would say.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what made you start the podcast?
I started the podcast because I have a side to me that is very creative that sometimes I haven't been able to explore as much as what I would have liked to. And I think this is providing me with an opportunity to explore that creativeness and also find out more about myself and what I truly am interested in. And I really enjoy speaking with people and learning. That's the biggest thing. And it's really cool to talk with people with all different waves of life. Successful, loss, win, draw. It's cool to pick up on the similarities, the differences, what aligns, what doesn't. And I think it's really important to always want to continue to grow as a person. Yeah. And that's what my goal is right now.
I think you're spot on. You're smashing it.
I appreciate it. We'll find out soon if I can do this headstand. That's how we'll know if I'm actually smashing it, because that's like, well, I'm a bit nervous, but shall we give it a go?
We shall. How are we going to do this? With the headphones?
I think we're going to go no headphones on the carpet.
Okay.
And you're going to teach me how to do a headstand.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So headstand.
Yeah.
A lot of people think headstand, you're on the crown of your head and you're like balancing on your head.
Sure.
That's false.
Okay.
We're actually on our forearms.
Forearms.
And so it's a lot of shoulder strength.
Yep.
And the width of your elbows matters.
Okay.
So rather than going like this,
Yeah.
where you're going to be really unstable, or like this, still unstable. Think like have a tripod triangle. So your elbows and your hands are the 3 points.
Yeah.
Okay. You're then going to be clasping your forefingers together.
Yeah.
And then using your thumbs on the back of your skull and pressing into your thumbs as you place the very crown of your head. So not your forehead, not just here, but the very, very crown of your head, the tallest part, onto the floor. So your ears should be completely upside down. So then you're framing the back of your head.
Yep.
Thumbs press up, and then press into the thumbs. Watch what happens to my shoulders. Relaxed.
Yep.
Press. You see that?
Relax. Press.
Nice. Yes. Okay, so press the thumbs. Press the thumbs as much as you can. Press, yes. Okay, now tuck your toes.
Like that.
Tuck them under. Yep, and now straighten your legs. Hey, okay. So keep pressing into your thumbs and lengthening up here. So you've got a bit of a round through your spine. Can you take that to straighten? Can you lift your hips up? Yes. Okay, now bring one knee into your chest. And now bring the other knee into your chest. More to the sky, more to the sky. Bring your toes together. Point your toes. Bring them this way a little bit. Hey!
This is crazy.
And then knees back to your chest. And now all the way down.
Oh, thank goodness you were there.
I don't think you need me. You're all good. Yeah, you can get experimental. You can play around with your legs.
Is it a lot of like back strength? What's the
It's shoulder strength.
shoulder strength?
And so headstands are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Handstands.
That's
and,
tough.
Well, people think it's tougher than it is.
Yeah.
It's tough to understand what's happening upside down.
Yeah.
And because you're literally just overcoming the fear of falling.
Yeah, true.
So when you do handstands, you learn to fall safely before you actually learn to handstand.
It's like doing your first backflip. That feeling of like
Just
flip.
wing it.
Yeah.